School. The soft deadline for a state budget to be passed is Monday. A new budget for Milwaukee Public Schools. School board Tuesday night passed the $1.5 billion budget proposal for 2026. It includes funding for lead cleanup, salary increases, and increased individual funding for each school. MPS Superintendent Dr. Brenda Caselius says additional work on the budget will happen this fall.
The commitment that I have to pass a fair budget and to bring back a budget, listening to the lit students as well as our community for October, where we can make adjustments and amendments.
This is the first budget for Caselius as superintendent of MPS. A 9-year-old girl was struck and killed by a fallen tree during severe weather Monday in Green Bay. She's now been identified.
Jamie says Rose and her brother were just outside their home after turning back from a trip to the grocery store. That's when Jamie says the wind picked up and part of a neighbor's tree fell on Rose, narrowly missing her brother.
It's just so hard on us, and her brother doesn't know how to take it quite yet. But he's upset. She and Rose's father, Richard Kristoff, tell me they asked crews to keep a piece of the tree after it was completely cut down Tuesday.
That's Perry Apostolakis from our partners at NBC 26. Rose Kendricks was the girl who was able to be pulled from under the fallen tree but later died from her injuries. 3 cases of a rare tick virus have been reported in Wisconsin.
The Department of Health Services says 3 adults were hospitalized with Powassan virus and 1 died from the infection. The virus is spread to people through infected deer ticks, and symptoms include fever, headache, nausea, and weakness. DHS says while the disease is rare, there has been an increase in the number of cases reported in recent years. In 2024, there were 14 cases of Powassan virus reported in Wisconsin. Neil Doyle, WTMJ News.
New research shows more microplastics may be getting into our food supply. ABC News Chief Medical Correspondent Dr. Tara Narula has some tips on what people can do to limit exposure.
Avoid putting your plastics in the microwave or in the dishwasher. If you're using pans to cook, don't use the non-stick ones. You want to use like ceramic or stoneware or glass, using natural fibers. Even with babies, we're talking about glass bottles, metal or wooden toys. And then you can also look at the bottom of your plastics. You see that triangular little symbol. Sometimes it has a number on it. So you want to try to avoid the numbers that are 3, 6, and 7. Those tend to be less heat resistant and more prone to leaching out those chemicals.
The Food Packaging Forum in Switzerland compiled hundreds of data points from more than 100 separate studies and found single-use plastics can shed microscopic particles into food and liquids. Time for news about your money in the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Dow is down 66 points, NASDAQ up 71, S&P 500 up 5. Financial planning at every level, Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 10:04.
WTMJ's Eric Bilstead here for Tri-County Contracting. You've heard about Tri-County Contracting and their worry-free roof tune-up. You've heard about their instant roof quote. But don't forget, Tri-County Contracting also handles windows. Our project at my home moving right along right now, and the process has been so easy and thorough. It's nice when you can trust the team you're working with and know that they are looking out for you. Tri-County Contracting, WI.com. It's worry-free roofing, siding, and also windows. Tri-County Contracting, WI.com.
I'm Jim Token, president of the Automobile Dealers Association of Metro Milwaukee. Nobody can keep your car running smoothly like an Adam new car dealer. Adam service technicians are factory trained and use original factory parts backed by a warranty. Best of all, you'll find competitive pricing equal to or even lower than independent shops. A well-maintained car delivers maximum gas mileage and saves you money. Call an Adam dealer today because you're always better off at an Adam new car dealer.
Get an oil change and safety inspection today.
Find furniture for life from Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield, Greenfield, or downtown Milwaukee.
Hey, Wisconsin, it's construction season, and the Wisconsin DOT wants to help you safely navigate work zones in your area. Check 511wi.gov or download the free 511 app to see current road work, closures, detours, and camera views on your route. Wherever your travels take you, know before you go with 511wi.gov. That's 511wi.gov. And remember, know before you go. Always park the phone while driving. Sponsored by the Wisconsin DOT.
Vince Vitrano here for Connect Chiropractic. Get your aches and pains under control. But not only that, regular care with Connect Chiro can bring back your energy. A lot of folks start with headaches, back pain, and shoulder pain. How quickly you see results varies from person to person, but time and repetition are the key to staying on track. No twisting, no cracking, no popping. Connect Chiro docs use a special tool for all your adjustments, targeted results, and a gentler experience. Check out the new location in Oak Creek or get started at goconnectchiro.com.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All Sports Desk. Brewers even their series. Milwaukee took down the Pirates 9-3 at home. Teams conclude their series this afternoon. NBA Draft will kick off tonight. The two-night event will begin with the first round. The Bucks do not currently own a first-round pick, but will select with the 47th overall pick in the second round on Thursday. Take a look at the roads with your WTMJ Time Saver traffic. Just a couple of disabled vehicles might be causing some problems, but not blocking any lanes. I-94 West, about a mile and a half beyond the ramp from Moreland Road. There is a disabled vehicle there. It is off right. I-94 West, a mile and a third beyond the ramp from Highway 100. The left shoulder there blocked due to a disabled vehicle. And 43 North at Locust Street, left shoulder again blocked due to a broken down vehicle. Here's your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Scattered showers this morning, then isolated storms possible this afternoon, high 73. Scattered storms and showers continue overnight, 64 for the low. More storms possible tomorrow, highs 83 to 90. Just a slight chance of storms Friday morning with a high of 82. Saturday, partly cloudy, 83. Sunday, partly cloudy again. A chance of rain and thunderstorms in the afternoon and evening, high Sunday, 89. 70 in Madison, 67 in Green Bay, 62 in Milwaukee. I'm Connie Weber. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 10:08.
Broadcasting live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue. It's time for Point Taken. Here are your hosts, Steve Scaffidi and Kristin Brey.
Oh, good morning, everybody. My name's still on the show, so I still exist.
Never took it off.
Oh,
we never took it off. Every day it would start with the show being like, psych, he's not here, it's just me.
Yeah, all those hashtag more. Where's Steve texts? Did you get a lot of those?
Tons, every day.
I am back from Scotland, which was an amazing country. We'll talk about a little bit later because I'm sure during the Ask Us Anything, someone will say, well, how was Scotland? It was amazing. Got back late last night, but let's jump right into it because I come back, and thanks to you for holding down the fort while I was gone.
I do what I can.
But the fact that I have the two great guests that are staring at me right now, James Santel and Mary Kuhnmensch, who are legal experts on the program, is a treat always because you guys know what you're talking about. You know the subject matter well. And apparently there was a lot of legal questions happening and legal
Some
decisions.
things were happening, Steve, while you were away in America,
Which I totally
and we'll chat about those.
I know, I'm so proud of you for actually unplugging.
I unplugged.
Did you say you actually did not even turn the news on or anything? When
I
you were...
never turned the TV on my entire trip.
And how was it?
Scotland?
How was it to go basically news-free?
Refreshing. And here's the cool thing. I don't want to get too deep into this because we'll get to it later. But the guests that were along, I went on Gene Miller's listener trip, which is a whole nother story. They didn't even want to engage on politics for the most part. A few of them maybe asked a few little innocent questions. But other than that, we just engulfed ourselves in all things Scotland, which was absolutely amazing. If you've never been, you should go there. Beautiful. All right. Where are we starting?
We are starting with the ruling that came down from the U.S. Supreme Court on Monday that now allows the Trump administration to restart deportations of migrants away from their home countries. I have not dove into this as much because I knew we were going to get into it with you two. How? Because this, to me, still seems like, how can we legally send people to a country that they are not from?
And that's the point that a judge named Brian Murphy, he's in Massachusetts. He is a federal district court judge. A couple months ago, he looks at these folks. Your listeners may recall this is the South Sudan group in particular. And he says that these people must be given access to lawyers and a chance to challenge exactly what you just said, Kristin, the plan to send them either to South Sudan, other places, not their nations of origin. That's what Judge Murphy says. The administration takes this up to the Supreme Court. A little bit more procedure here. Supreme Court on Monday, again, as Mary and I will raise our eyebrows about, issues one of these emergency emergency orders, basically saying, no, you can continue to deport and go ahead and do it. They do it significantly without any explanation, as they often do in these shadow docket cases. And it goes back to the judge. As of yesterday, that's how breaking this is. And the judge says, that's fine, but nothing about what the Supreme Court said yesterday prevents my order from being implemented. And so go ahead still and provide them with due process. And again, late yesterday, the White House says we're going back to the Supreme Court to have the Supreme Court tell Judge Murphy he's wrong. And you've got quite literally Stephen Miller, among other people, saying we're going to have the Supreme Court rein this judge in. That's where we are. And so it underscores not only the significance of this back and forth between a federal district court judge who's playing at loggerheads with the Supreme Court. Also, the other larger issue is these emergency application orders without explanation, without description of what's going on here. The judge takes advantage of that appropriately and says, absent instruction, I'm going ahead. And that's the disaster that is this situation.
Mary, this lack of clarity, lack of just written decisions, which provides lower courts some points of clarity on all these issues.
Direction, right?
How are these things going to stand up long term when there's nothing behind these as Jim said, emergency decisions?
They're not.
There'll
be a whisper in the wind, so to speak, as in terms of how history will look at this. I'm proudly wearing my Boston, Massachusetts sweatshirt in support of Judge Brian Murphy today because he is a Massachusetts judge, and he's a trial court judge, which is what I was, only at the state court level. And us trial court judges, we look to the higher court for clarification, for direction. If we got it wrong, Supreme Court, tell us and explain to us what specifically we got wrong and what we're supposed to do to correct it. And this Supreme Court is notoriously absent on the details. They issue rulings. They kind of tiptoe around certain issues. And one of the issues they were tiptoeing around, in my opinion, in this case, Jim, is the issue of the due process.
Absolutely.
Are they entitled? Are immigrants? Are people who are in this country illegally? Are they entitled to due process? And that answer has always been yes.
Yes. And
always.
Here's the situation.
And by the way, by Justice Scalia, who pointed out one of the most conservative Federalist justices to sit on our Supreme Court, he, in a wonderful dissertation and oration on this topic, agreed with his colleague Ruth Bader Ginsburg that, by the way, the Constitution doesn't call for only citizens, it calls for persons. Right. And persons mean immigrants and anyone else that finds themselves on our soil. Right. That being said, what this court is doing is being very vague in terms of the details about what it is that Brian Murphy, the trial court judge, is supposed to do. So you know what he's doing? He's saying, all right, if that's how you want to play this, I'm going to continue. This is what you told me to do. I'm going to continue to deport him. You haven't addressed the issue of due process, which is the key issue in my mind and why I continue to require the president and the Justice Department to provide due process to these folks. If you're not going to give me any instruction on that, I'm going to continue to go forward. Now, when Jim says they're at loggerheads, what's going to come down to is the Justice Department and the court having to finally wrestle with the issue of due process.
Right. And that due process is basically telling them, number one, giving them notice of where we're taking you and giving you an opportunity to say, you know what? I am from Cuba. I'm from Mexico. I'm from South Korea. I don't know this country. And because of that, I've got an opportunity at least to tell the government why I shouldn't be sent to a place that I do not know. That's all he's saying. The underlying point of this, I suspect some listeners may ask about this as well, all these folks are criminals. They have been convicted. They are deportable. And the things that they have done are horrific. We're not talking about that. We're talking, as Mary just said, about a basic law of the land, which is that even in that situation where we are ready to deport them, you still have to provide them with this due process component.
Jim Santel, Judge Mary Kuhn-Mensch, retired, but still doing some work on the legal side of things.
Doing work here.
Yeah, she's working heavy and hard today, as she always does. So many different pieces of this. Yes. We're going to get to some of the clarity. I think that's first and foremost to me, if you issue vague rulings from the highest court, it sort of gives like a free will, do whatever you want to the Department of Justice, Attorney General, President of the United States. That's the thing that I worry about. From whether it's this president or another, there's no rules, and no rules can lead to chaos. She's Kristin. I'm Steve. It's Point Taken on a Wednesday. You know what day it is? Hump Day. Back after this.
Well, that's a good transition.
Without an Advent clinic nearby, people suffering needlessly from chronic nasal congestion and sinus infections would be stuck with either Band-Aid or sledgehammer solutions. Band-Aids are pills or nasal sprays, and they're not true solutions. Surgery is a sledgehammer, and that's what we're trying to avoid. Because most people don't need surgery for nose and sinus issues, nor do they want a 14-day recovery. Our unique Advent approach can, in 20 minutes in our office, open your blocked nose for good, with only 1-day recovery. I'm Advent founder Dr. Kandula. Outside of Advent's four walls, invasive surgery is what they'll recommend. But here you will find effective and convenient in-office solutions to help you stop the need for Band-Aids and avoid the sledgehammer.
Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better. Most insurance accepted.
When we're out in your town, come say hi as we broadcast live from the Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin mobile studio.
Anytime you hear us when we're on the road, you can find us live from our brand new mobile studio.
Whether it be Summerfest, EAA, Opening Day, Air and Water Show, wherever we may be.
You can see us on the radio, live from the Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin mobile studio.
We are Wisconsin's radio station.
We are Wisconsin's radio station.
We are Wisconsin's radio station.
News Radio 620 WTMJ.
WTMJ's Vince Vitrano here for Shopco Optical. Get eyewear for everything you do at Shopco Optical. Schedule your annual comprehensive eye exam, check out new frame styles, and order your annual supply of contact lenses, all in one place. Enjoy the time and attention your eyes deserve at Shopco Optical. Receive quality eye care and a personalized vision solution tailored to your specific vision and lifestyle needs. Call Shopco Optical or visit shopco.com to schedule an appointment at a location nearest you.
Steve Scaffidi is back. I've been here.
That's the name of the band, by the way. Thin Lizzy on 620 WTMJ.
Music trivia, I will say that.
Well, it's in my era, so my wheelhouse, as they say.
Fair enough. All right. Welcome back to Point Taken. I'm Kristin Brey. He is Steve Scaffidi, and we are joined by Mary Kuhnmensch, retired Milwaukee County Circuit Court judge, and Jim Santel, former U.S. attorney, talking about all things legal. So just to put a button on what we were talking about in the first segment, in that there is loggerheads, to use your word, as far as the more directive, the directions basically coming down from the U.S. Supreme Court to Judge Brian Murphy surrounding due process and deportations. Now, Sotomayor had a dissent that you thought was worth mentioning.
It's vigorous, right? And very briefly, here's what she says. She says, apparently the court, meaning the Supreme Court, finds the idea that thousands will suffer violence in far-flung locales, that is, the people being deported, these places, not their countries of origin, more palatable than the remote possibility that a district court exceeded its remedial powers when it ordered the government to provide notice and process to which the plaintiffs are constitutionally and statutorily entitled. There's a lot to unpack there. Basically, she's saying that the court is more interested in ensuring that violence might be imposed upon these folks than ensuring that justice is done here. This is no small statement from her.
Let me just add something to what Jim has just pointed out, and just so that folks listening can understand that the real human consequences of some of these things, and why groups involved in human trafficking, domestic violence, violence against women that are very, very concerned about the implications of some of these decisions. It's not a fluke that Justice Sotomayor, one of her previous jobs, one of the things she did before she was on the Supreme Court, is she was active and involved in a law firm that handled human trafficking cases. And so she has a sensitivity to that some of those other justices do not. I empathize with that because I served 5 years on the domestic violence bench in Milwaukee County, and also sexual violent crimes against women and children. And so when you have that background, it's important for people like that to be on the Supreme Court, because their decisions implicate very human conditions and things that go on beyond the United States, beyond our border, around the world. And one of them is human trafficking. And what you've got is, as Jim said earlier, when you've got criminals who we know they're criminals, we know that they've been adjudicated of very violent crimes, and the president is absolutely right in trying to get them out of this country. And to do that, we are a country that has said even criminals get due process in this country. Where we're really having problems, though, is that they are also in broad ways picking people up off the street and putting them in the same bushel basket as convicted criminals, as rapists, as murderers that have no criminal convictions, and they get swept up in this type of indiscriminate way of doing deportations. And if one of them is a woman or a child and they get deported to one of these countries that is involved in human trafficking, God knows where they're going. And the United States of America has never, ever been a part of that kind of a sort of careless disregard for the rule of law and for what it means when you make these when you do these kinds of things. That's why we have due process, and we have it even for criminals, because you want to make sure that people have a right to be heard. And some of these people who are being deported that are not criminals could be heard and could raise the issue of what's going to happen to them if they do get deported to that country. And those are important things that Justice Sotomayor is saying, backed up by the other minority judges and joined at times by Justice Coney Barrett. I think the women on that court are doing the heavy lifting right now, and I'm glad to see it.
The thing that bothers me is, we're going to go after the criminals. We're then going to go after people we think are criminals. What's the difference between that second one and we're going to go after people who say things we don't like?
Well, that's what's happening.
Even though that's protected by things that some of these other things are protected by as well, like due process. Doesn't matter. We don't like what they're saying. What's preventing them from going after and rounding up these people, including, by the way, people who do what Kristin and I do, because we're critical of this president on occasion.
Well, look what's happening to even politicians, Steve. I don't want to take this into a political discussion because it's really more than that. It really is more than that. But when you see senators, United States senators being manhandled, when you see judges being arrested and handcuffed, even though I agree that what they did in the underlying offense, giving aid or trying to obstruct justice, is wrong, you don't parade. There's no need, as Jim Santel can tell you, as a former prosecutor, the lead prosecutor for the federal government in the state of Wisconsin, you don't need to put people in handcuffs. You're doing that for one reason only, and that is to send a message of intimidation to people who disagree with you. I don't disagree that we needed to have, and I think most Americans would agree, and it's one of the reasons a lot of people did vote for Donald Trump. They wanted to have more restrictions on entering this country. They wanted to have a more a methodical way of doing it. They wanted to have a different way of handling asylum cases, and just having open borders wasn't working. And so everybody agrees that there had to be an immigration process. Let's fix our borders. Let's get an immigration process in line. But you know what? The Congress has yet to even address or bring a bill. There's two bills, as far as I know, Jim, on the congressional floor, just being ready to be brought up for votes on immigration reform. And they're not even debating those things where we could have the people then are speaking, because you've got the Congress raising these issues, and then you have the Senate. These are people who represent us coming up with what we're asking them to do, which is more sensible, legitimate, legally supportable immigration policy and a pathway for people that are here, that are not doing anything wrong, that are working in our industries, that would pay taxes if they and pay into the system instead of using false Social Security numbers. All the things that we want them to do, they're doing, and we'd like to get those people on a pathway, as most Americans believe, to citizenship. Instead, they are now focusing on not just borders, not just coming up with immigration policy and reform, but just indiscriminately picking people up off the street in a not very well thought out process. And this is what happens. Mistakes are made, and they're being made every single day, with innocent people being deported alongside hardened criminals. And that's something that all of us as Americans who have a moral compass ought to be thinking about.
Judge Mary Kuhn Mensch and Attorney James Santel, Kristin and Steve, point taken on this Wednesday. Lots more to get to. We'll do it after this on 620 WTMJ.
Brew Crew Tuesdays are back on July 1st.
Churio sends it deep to left, and there she goes.
Catch Watch the Brewers on local TV as they battle the New York Mets.
And Yelich launches one deep right center field. Forget about it. Oh, my goodness. Third deck.
This edition of Brew Crew Tuesdays is presented by Construction Business Group. Tune in July 1st at 6:10 on Fox 6 in Milwaukee, or check your local listings to watch the game.
WTMJ, Steve Scaffidi here. If you're trying to make sense of this economy and where we're headed, Thursday, July 3rd, you need to check out a webinar John McCure is co-hosting, my teammate, with Annex Wealth Management's Brian Jacobson, who's been on this show, chief economist at Annex. Thursday, July 3rd at 9 a.m. You get instant insight just after the jobs report is released. Brian and John will provide instant analysis on the employment picture, answer your questions, which is a cool part of that production, and explain what it all means to you and your money. Visit WTMJ.com, click the Instant Insight Register Now button. Always important to register. Or check out the events at AnnexWealth.com. That's this Thursday, July 3rd, next Thursday rather, July 3rd at 9 a.m. with John McCure and Brian Jacobson. Don't miss it. Join John McCure and Brian Jacobson for instant analysis on the employment picture. They will answer your questions and explain what it all means to you and your money. Visit WTMJ.com, click the Instant Insight Register Now button, or check out the events at AnnexWealth.com. Next Thursday, July 3rd at 9 a.m. with John McCure and Brian Jacobson. Register today.
We see you out there, building a life you love, knowing that when inspiration strikes, nothing should get in your way. At Blaine's, we're here to help with everything you need to make it happen at prices that make it possible. Like $80 off 192-piece DeWalt Mechanics tool sets, Milwaukee job site backpacks $89.99, Little Giant rubber utility mats 15% off. Plus, we offer Blaine's best price promise, guaranteeing the lowest price with us or we'll match it. Blaine's Farm and Fleet. Be an original.
The historic Fox & Hound Supper Club is the most beautiful, unique, and affordable summer dining destination. WTMJ's John Merck here. I love the Fox & Hounds. When you buy one dinner, your second dinner is free, including prime rib every Wednesday and Saturday, desserts and ice cream drinks, buy one, get one free. Order a hand-cut choice ribeye steak, pan-seared scallops, the roasted duck, pan-fried walleye, pasta, the ribs, any entree, your second dinner is free. 7 nights a week. Wow, what a value. Relax with a cold beverage on that patio in the woods, then dinner in one of the 8 unique dining rooms. Your second dinner is free. It is a dining experience at the historic Fox & Hounds. The award-winning Fox & Hounds Supper Club off Highway 167 near Holy Hill. The drive through the Kettle Moraine is stunning. A Wisconsin summer must-see. Wherever you live, it's worth the beautiful drive and free dinner at the Fox & Hounds. So step away from your kitchen, call and reserve your free dinner today. It's the famous Fox & Hounds.
Oh, I recognize that music.
Where's your kilt?
It's in my closet at home. I didn't bring my kilt with me. Although I saw a lot of people wearing kilts.
Missed opportunity.
You're wearing a St. Andrews golf shirt. How was St. Andrews?
It was absolutely gorgeous. I didn't golf there, but we kind of took it in for a few hours. It's spectacular. It was an amazing day, nice warm weather. This music that you're hearing was actual bagpipe playing in Schmitty's Pub in, what was the town? Bulky, Scotland, a little tiny town. And they entertained us for a couple hours, told stories, sang with our group, and our group was singing. Funny, quick story. I know we're running up against the news here. We learned a song. I think it was "Go Laddie Go" or something like that. And then later on at a different place, the accordion player at a Scottish hotel. Anyone know this song? And our 50 people or whatever it was, 45.
All these Americans are just like, we do.
And they were whipping out the lyrics, and the Scottish people in attendance were like, "Who are these Americans?" And they know the lyrics to our favorite songs. That was a fun part of this.
Oh, that is really funny. All right, so when we come back, there was a dissent in an environmental case that Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson kind of gave the impression that the Supreme Court might be favoring moneyed interests.
Right.
And so I want to get both of your opinions on both go over when we come back what the dissent said, and also if she has a point. So we'll get to that and other legal matters on the other side of the news. What else is coming up today? We got Ask Us Anything in the second hour.
A special guest coming up late at the end of the show, because when we know we're going to get the question, how was Scotland? So.
How was Scotland? And then I prepared a special...
I'm looking forward to this, actually.
Hamilton, what did I miss of the last 10 days? Because you actually checked out. And
I was not in the room or the country where it happened.
What you heard and what maybe seeped through and what didn't as far as the biggest news stories while you were out.
I totally unplugged. I checked out. So Kristin will test my responses to the news of the day. We got local news, of course, with the great Connie Weber. But before we get to any of that, here's the latest from ABC.
ABC News, I'm Chuck Sievertson. News about military help to Ukraine after meeting with President Zelensky at the NATO summit in the Netherlands from President Trump.
They do want to have the anti-missile missiles, okay, as they call them, the Patriots. And we're going to see if we can make some available.
Now that the Iran-Israel war is over, says President Trump, U.S. and Iranian officials will talk next week. The president is disputing this leaked report on the U.S. attacks on Iran.
The classified preliminary report from the Defense Intelligence Agency and U.S. Central Command indicates Iran's centrifuges remain intact. One source familiar with the initial intelligence says much of the enriched uranium was not destroyed because it was moved before the U.S. struck.
Tanking 14% from the month before, sales of single-family homes in May, says the Census Bureau, a 7-month low. This despite price cuts and sales incentives. This is ABC News.
Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 1031. I'm Connie Weber. Preliminary hearing this morning for the Milwaukee man accused of trying to get a key witness deported by faking threats against President Trump. Prosecutors say Demetric Scott wrote the letters from jail using the name of a man set to testify against him in a robbery case. That witness, Ramon Morales Reyes, was later detained by ICE. Scott now faces multiple felonies, including witness intimidation and identity theft. An incident at a food packaging plant co-owned by Wisconsin Assembly Speaker Robin Vos has drawn the attention of federal safety workers. The Milwaukee Journal Sentinel reports an employee lost a fingertip in a March machinery accident at the TS food packaging plant in Burlington. That employee, Sean Wiley, and plant management disagree on whether proper safety protocols were followed. Vos has declined to comment on that incident. One person killed in a shooting late Tuesday in Milwaukee's near South Side. The 47-year-old found injured near 11th and Scott later died at a hospital. No arrests yet. Here's your WTMJ Annex Wealth Management market update. Mixed picture on Wall Street. Dow is down 89 points, 42,999. NASDAQ up 59 at 19,972. S&P 500 up just a fraction at 6,093. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Taking a look at the roads now with your WTMJ Time Saver traffic. Still some disabled vehicles, but not blocking any lanes. There's one I-94 west about 1.1 miles beyond the ramp from Highway 100, blocking the left shoulder. I-41 at North Avenue, left shoulder there blocked due to a disabled vehicle. Here's your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Isolated afternoon and evening showers and storms continuing into the overnight hours. High today 73, low tonight 64. Scattered storms tomorrow, highs 83 to 90 inland. Slight chance of storms Friday morning with a high of 82. Partly cloudy and 83 Saturday, and then the chance for storms returns on Sunday. Partly cloudy skies with a high of 89. 70 in Madison, 67 in Green Bay, 62 in Milwaukee. I'm Connie Weber. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 1033.
WTMJ's Eric Bilstead here for Tri-County Contracting. You've heard about Tri-County Contracting and their worry-free roof tune-up. You've heard about their instant roof quote. But don't forget, Tri-County Contracting also handles windows. Our project at my home moving right along right now, and the process has been so easy and thorough. It's nice when you can trust the team you're working with and know that they are looking out for you. Tri-County Contracting, WI.com. It's worry-free roofing, siding, and also windows. Tri-County Contracting, WI.com.
Wisconsin is as hard-working of a place as you'll ever find. There's a sense of pride, community, and work ethic that's second to none. People here are tough, but even the toughest among us need help after a serious accident. At Gruber Law Offices, we won't stop fighting for you and your family. We've been here and will continue to be here for as long as you need us. Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
Remember mixtapes?
Mixtape? Can you buy that at the hardware store?
It's not that kind of tape.
To make a mixtape, you would dub all your favorite songs onto one cassette.
Oh, I was more of an 8-track guy myself.
You know, the new Marshfield 7000 Sulfat Penny Mustard reminds me of the world's greatest mixtape.
We have taken the latest and greatest components of every Penny Mustard configurable sofa and mixed them all together into one.
The Marshfield 7000 is the ultimate sofa.
It's absolutely stunning.
And the comfort level is off the charts.
I definitely see this sofa going all the way to #1.
It's kind of like a greatest hits album, except you can sit on it.
The Marshfield 7000 sofa, made in Wisconsin with a solid wood frame and hundreds of fabric and leather options, starting at just $21.26 at Penny Mustard.
Showrooms in Milwaukee and Chicago.
PennyMustard.com.
Better versions of what people want.
Penny Mustard Furnishing.
Guess who's back? Back again. Shady's back. Tell a friend.
I sense a theme on the bumper. Yes, I am back. Good to be back. It's always great to be back. There's a feeling of relief when you touch down. In this case, it was Chicago's O'Hare Airport. But a moment of, I'm going to point a finger at O'Hare. Every time I fly into O'Hare Airport recently, two things. Circling the airport, waiting to land, and two, waiting for a gates. If this is going to be that big airport in the center of this country, let's do a better job on that. I'm getting sick and tired of waiting when I've just returned from a 9-hour flight. Get better, O'Hare Airport. That's my comment of the day.
That's where you want to start?
Yes. No, we're not going to start. We're not going to talk about that. That was my commentary of the day. Oh, it was Go Lassie Go, not Go Laddie Go. I made it about me and a laddie instead of a lassie. Want to be correct on that.
All right. Should we move forward?
Let's
You ready?
move forward.
Are you ready?
I could keep going.
I know you will. I know you will. Let's cut you off. All right. So going back to SCOTUS and some of the disagreements that are happening at that level right now. So in a scathing dissent, Justice Jackson has claimed that the Supreme Court is giving the impression that it's favoring moneyed interest. And this comes back to what we talked about last week and even earlier in today's show, as far as the shadow docket, right? Of like what's getting picked out to make a ruling on and what's like in an emergency situation and what's not. And if you're following the pattern, she's claiming that it looks like people who have
money,
more
and
money,
have got power and corporate status. So for your listeners, this is a case called Diamond Alternative Energy. Comes out on Friday of last week. It's among 6 cases on that day. Says the fuel producers who are parties to this case have standing. They can bring their claims to challenge the EPA's approval under the Clean Air Act of some regulations, and those required automakers to manufacture more electric vehicles. So that's the basis for the lawsuit. Along the way, so you've got a 7-2 decision saying that indeed the fuel producers, the big companies, the big corporations here, they can go into court and they can sue. And along the way, as you just indicated, Kristin, you've got Ketanji Brown Jackson, who says for some, the decision by the Supreme Court will harden their sense that this court softens its review standards when evaluating petitions from moneyed interests, looking past the jurisdictional defects or other vehicle problems that would typically doom petitions from other parties. The court's simultaneous aversion to hearing cases involving the potential vindication of the rights of less powerful litigants, workers, criminal defendants, the condemned, among others, will further fortify that impression. Strong words from Ketanji Brown Jackson in this EPA case last Friday.
She's really feeling her oats these days. I think she got to the point pretty early in her tenure. This is just her 3rd tenure, and it's interesting that someone like the Chief Justice, John Roberts, didn't write a full dissent until he was on the bench, 16 years. And here you have Ketanji Brown watching and listening to what's going on around her and writing a scathing dissent and implicating one of her colleagues, the one who wrote the majority decision, Neil Gorsuch. And they're friends, supposedly off the court, but after this bout of competing decisions, I'm not so sure that's the case anymore.
So someone just texted this in, and I think it's a good question. And they said, what good are dissents, really? They don't stop anything. And so from legal scholars as yourselves, what's the point?
I think there are 2 reasons for doing them. Number one is to tell us in our contemporary times how the justices feel. It just, again, understanding where they come from.
Like the history books?
And that's the second point, the history books, right? It's not full of these situations, but many times, especially in the First Amendment area, privacy rights, those kinds of things, a dissent from 10, 15, 20 years eventually becomes the majority view. And so you're depositing in history the notion that maybe my dissent today is one the Supreme Court in a future case should adopt. That also has great value.
You have mentioned Chief Justice John Roberts on several occasions during this first 40 minutes. What does history say about Chief Justice John Roberts so far and his sort of leadership, or some would argue his lack of leadership, in some of the cases, some of the decisions, some of these, secret docket rulings
I
that
think,
come out?
in a word, disappointment. I think we had some, between Rehnquist and Warren and Berger, we had some giants as Supreme Court Chief Justices. They're supposed to be leaders. And part of that leadership requires that you forge alliances and try to get as many majority decisions to be the voice of the court, that you speak as one. It's appropriate to have dissent. That's actually good. It moves the law forward. The law evolves. I mean, think of all the, Brown versus the Board of Education. Yeah. I mean, think of all the, the point that, for instance, that I think that is made by Justice Brown Jackson is very important. She talked about the Karamazov decision, which was a Supreme Court decision in the 1940s. I think it was 1944, if I'm not mistaken. But it was during Franklin Roosevelt's term, who even liberal Democrats and people who believe that he saved this country, I know my parents did, and thought he was a giant bringing us out of the Great Depression. But even people like that make very serious mistakes. And one of them was the internment of American Japanese people. And the court upheld that and allowed that to go forward. But they did it in the public. And they allowed for dissents to be written by other members of the court who found fault with the reasoning of the majority. And that was done where there was briefing, there were oral arguments, so that was fleshed out. And we could see what the law was. The drapes were pulled apart so you could see in through the window and see what the court was thinking and how they were doing it. You don't get that level of transparency, and then you don't get the court moving forward or the law moving forward when you're basically issuing decision after decision after decision. What is it, Jim? 16, 19?
They're 19 since January 20th,
19.
And they're these one-sentence opinions basically saying you can or cannot do this, and that's it.
That's from the shadow document, the emergency document. You're basically saying if you're a rich person and you have and you want to have a decision, or you're the president of the United States and you want everything you're doing is an emergency and has got to be decided by the emergency docket, you're basically taking all of these kinds of decisions and putting them behind closed doors, not letting the law be fleshed out and for people to read it and for lawyers and law students to read it and to understand what the court is saying so that the law can change. Legislators, Congress can change the laws based on what the court is saying. You can't do any of that kind of stuff that we're used to, that for like 250 years we've done, so that when the court's decisions are out there, like the Karamazov decision that, basically shamed President Roosevelt for having the internment process with Japanese Americans. And now we don't do that anymore. Or do we? Now we're going behind closed doors and doing all that, even on immigration decisions that does involve people that are not Americans by birth or by citizenship. But we're still trying to preserve that one beautiful piece of our Constitution, which is the 14th Amendment, due process for all persons. Doesn't say citizens, for all persons. And that means even immigrants and criminals.
Got to leave it there. Let's take a break here. We got lots more to get to, including big decisions coming, looming from this court. What will happen this week? And I just was reading Kristin's comment, buckle up, America, perhaps.
Buckle up, America.
We shall see what that means after this on 620 WTMJ.
Are you sick of not being your bank's top priority? We are too. At Wintrust, we take a different approach to banking. We're proud to be your one true banking partner focused on your unique financial goals. That's right in your backyard. Whether you're opening your first account, buying a home, planning for the future, or starting a business, we have tailored solutions to get you there. Stop settling and start experiencing a better way to bank at Wintrust.com. Wintrust, different approach, better results. Banking products provided by Wintrust Financial Corp. Banks, member FDIC and equal housing lender.
Loyalty, family, few things are more important. This is WTMJ, Steve Scaffidi, and Loyal Family Renovations. Yes, Loyal Family Renovations saved the day for us after a brutal storm in Oak Creek last year. Hail damage, we had a ton of it, and it was not good. Jeff, Jake, and the whole team, absolute pros, made the entire process as smooth as possible from beginning to end. They worked with my insurance company. We got them on the phone. We talked on our patio all together, got the most value, and handled all the questions because I'm not an insurance adjuster. I don't know what you're supposed to ask, what you're not supposed to ask. Quick answers, top-notch customer service, and in just 2 days, had a brand-new roof that's complete strip, all new, metal, and roof. They even had a tool to pick up all the last nails that had dropped off the roof. I was so impressed, I told my whole neighborhood about it. If storm damage hits you, call a team that made it easy for me. Loyal Family Renovations. Visit loyalfamilyRenovations.com today.
For those with a warm weather fashion passion, try St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores because that's where you'll find a vast array of men's, women's, girls, and boys' warm weather apparel at the friendliest prices. So many choices and at such a value. You can fill the closet without draining your wallet. Shop warm weather fashions at St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores on Highway 100 in Layton and Greenfield, 23rd in Lincoln, and 76th and Bradley Road in Milwaukee.
You're gonna love it. St. Vincent de Paul.
Summer in Milwaukee means a couple of things: Brewers baseball and live music. Get the best of both when the Brewers take on the Rockies June 27th, featuring a post-game concert by Nelly. Then, the first 25,000 fans at the game on Saturday, June 28th, get a Pat Murphy Manager of the Year bobblehead, courtesy of Toyota. Get ready for a weekend you'll be talking about all summer. Get your tickets at Brewers.com.
Save on the best quality furniture and mattresses during the July Independence Day sale at Ken Michaels Furniture. With major discounts from our premier suppliers, you will save big on top brands like Bradington Young, made in the foothills of the Great Smoky Mountains. Bradington Young is known for its fine quality leather upholstery. Fjords brings you modern Scandinavian design recliners and sofas, ergonomically engineered for more hip and back support. Norwalk, with American roots that go back over 100 years, specializes in making furniture just for you. Choose the piece, style, fabric, or leather you want, and in just 35 days, we'll deliver your new sofa, chair, or sectional. In stock or special orders are all sale priced. Need a little help putting it all together? At Ken Michaels Furniture, our design staff is ready to help you with your purchases, and it's free. Stop in today and save now during the Independence Day sale at Ken Michaels Furniture on Capitol Drive in Brookfield, Highway 100 in Greenfield, or our downtown Mattress Factory showroom.
You're going to love the new all-you-can-eat Saturday breakfast buffet for under $10 at the Mine Shaft Restaurant in downtown Hartford. It's fantastic. From 8 a.m. till noon, kids under 3 eat free. Walk on in. It's all you can eat. MineShaftRestaurant.com.
Retired judge walking. Retired.
It's a mouthful.
Yeah, it's a
You
lot
still
of.
have a little vacation brain. It's fine.
Yeah, and a lack of sleep. Let's get Mary's mic on there. Walking judge, retired Mary Kuhnbench, and Attorney James Santel, former U.S. Attorney for Southeastern Wisconsin. All right, so lots of decisions still looming pending from the U.S. Supreme Court. So let's hit some of the highlights here because we only have a limited amount of time. What should we expect to see, hear, read this week?
10 more cases yet to be decided. These are the biggies, Steve and Kristin, Mary, as you well know. We know that probably tomorrow, Thursday, about 9, 10 o'clock, Supreme Court's going to issue maybe 5 or 6 of those, probably one more day next week, and then they're done for the term. What do we have waiting? Birthright citizenship is still out there.
That's the big one, right?
That's the big one, but that may be a surprise just because of this issue about national and universal injunctions. You've got LGBT books in schools, whether the religious rights of parents declining to permit their students to be exposed, as they said, to elementary school books there. Preventive health care, government power. This, again, the Affordable Care Act, whether or not these task forces that determine whether preventive health care services have to be covered, that's out there. There's a race and redistricting case coming out of again, the 14th Amendment, Louisiana, Planned Parenthood funding. And again, it has to do with issues related to funding there, but also Medicaid and other issues. Those are just a few of the 10 coming up
Circling
very
back
soon.
to birthright citizenship.
Yes.
From your read of the Constitution and the law of the land, what should they say? And then maybe if you want to dip your toe into what might they say?
I think there are two things. If they do get to the substance, you look at the 14th Amendment and you say, yes, it means what it says and it says what it means. And this particular phrase that they're invoking does not change the notion that if you are born here, that has been our tradition. You want to change that? Change the Constitution. That's what they will do. As to national or universal jurisdiction and these injunctions, I think, again, Amy Coney Barrett got it right. They've got to be able to articulate some rule that says if there's something of colossal importance for every single American, maybe an individual federal district court judge somewhere in this nation, whether it's eastern Wisconsin, northern Texas, can in fact do that. Goes up on appeal, so we got some review. But if there are things that are truly local and regional, maybe those should not be. And so the question is, can they craft a rule, and will they do so that kind of doesn't divide the issue in half, but provides some balance, again, some direction to district court judges about when they can and when they cannot impose universal injunctions. There are judges out there who say, you know what? My ruling is important. I'm going to have it just apply to the particular plaintiffs in front of me today. That may also provide some guidance to the Supreme Court.
I think we've got a very divided Supreme Court right now, which I point out for one reason, and that is because I think the moderates are really going to have to step up in this court. And the moderates are generally seen to be, believe it or not, Justice Kagan, even though she's lumped in with the liberal, one of the women justices and one of the sort of the liberal branch of the court. You've also got, however, people that could give whatever issue it is, and I would include in that breath Coney Barrett, John Roberts, and Kavanaugh. Those three, who are considered the conservative part of the bench, those three, along with Kagan, are, look to what they're writing, look to what they're saying during oral argument. They are the moderate group that could forge an alliance and take some of these decisions back to, I think, the middle ground, which is, where most of us live our lives, actually, in that sort of muddy gray area, the middle ground. And I think Ketanji Jackson, for all of her comments about how tortured these decisions that the Federalists and the Conservatives, including Neil Gorsuch, are drafting and putting out there, she, I think, is still willing to do that. Where she has indigestion, and quite frankly, I think most of us do, most judges, because we look to the Supreme Court for direction, is this continual easy way out. Let's not address something that, let's not address something that definitely could help provide clarification because it's going to be too controversial, or let's try to find a middle ground. Let's try to get a majority to rule this way. Or, even more importantly, let's take it out from the emergency docket and start putting these things back out on the regular docket for the court, where it can be briefed, where the public can see it and can read it, and lawyers and law students. The only way laws change in this country is when the Supreme Court lets its reasoning be heard and seen and read by all of us. And they're not doing that. They're avoiding that in spades right now, and that is a bad way to run a court. And it's bad for the judges at the trial court level, who, like a Brian Murphy in Massachusetts, who's looking for more direction than what the court is giving. Why? Because the court is doing this all under the cover of darkness, under the emergency docket, and that's got to stop. And I think Ketanji Jackson's really pointed decisions and dissents in the last month, I hope, shakes that court up and starts to realize we can't continue to operate this way.
All right. We got to take one more break, and then we'll come back and say goodbye to Jim and Mary. Stay with us on Point Taken.
Brew Crew Tuesdays are back on July 1st.
Turio sends it deep to left, and there she goes.
Catch the Brewers on local TV as they battle the New York Mets.
And Yelich launches one deep right center field. Forget about it. Oh, my goodness. Third deck.
This edition of Brew Crew Tuesdays is presented by Construction Business Group. Tune in July 1st at 6:10 on Fox 6 in Milwaukee, or check your local listings to watch the game.
Hey, it's WTMJ, Steve Scaffidi. For Milwaukee weight loss, yes, I've been on this journey for about, 5 months now, lost 40 pounds. Even on my trip, I didn't gain any weight. It's the secret to losing 1 pound of fat every day. It changes your metabolism, and it changes your lifestyle and how you approach food and what you eat, even on vacation. And if you have a goal, like you want to go on a big vacation, maybe you have a wedding coming up, their doctors have developed easy-to-follow weight loss program. Helps you lose weight fast, naturally, safely, no drugs, no injections, none of the risk of serious side effects, none of the gimmicky stuff, the meals, bars, shakes. You don't even have to exercise, but I encourage you to get out there and walk because it works for everybody. Keeps you young, by the way. So listen to what I'm saying. Go to MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com. Schedule a free consultation. Just ask the questions. Find out about it. Many patients lose 20 to 30 pounds in about a month or two. I did it. You could certainly do it too. It's crazy to watch your body lose that weight. It's crazy also to try to keep that weight off, which I've done. Schedule your free consultation by calling 262-449-1180. Go online at MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com. That's MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com. Results may vary.
Accunet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
After writing 3 unsuccessful offers, Brenda decided to make a no-regrets offer on this next property. She offered $35,000 over asking and promised to complete the purchase even if the appraised value came in as much as $25,000 below the accepted offer price. Why? Because she was tired of losing, and because her Accunet loan consultant showed her that even in her worst-case scenario, no additional money would be needed at closing, and her payment, which on this home was much more affordable than others she wrote offers on, would only increase by $17 a month. Brenda's no-regrets offer, backed up by a rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval from Accunet, was accepted over several others. And wouldn't you know, the appraised value came in at the significantly higher than asking purchase price, which happens 9 out of 10 times in our experience. If you or someone you know wants help understanding what a no-regrets pre-approval might look like, get started by clicking on the blue button at Accunet.com. That's ACCUNET.com.
Here's to time out on the water in Wisconsin. To living your best life while enjoying the lake life.
Ready?
And getting up on a wakeboard the very first try. Or not. Here's to wearing only swimsuits and wishing this perfect day would never end. Here's to those who Wisconsin. Start your summer getaway at travelwisconsin.com.
Historic Fox & Hound Supper Club gift cards make perfect year-round birthday, anniversary, and thank you gifts. With the buy one dinner, get one free offer, it's like getting a free gift card. Order online at foxandhoundsrestaurant.com and enjoy your free dinner.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
Simon & Garfunkel. I love this album, but this song strikes me. And it is good to be home. Real quick, James had a great little sort of summary of the role of John Roberts and all of these stories that are circulating in and around the decisions of the U.S. Supreme Court.
Right. So 2 things. Mary mentioned before Korematsu. Interesting that John Roberts has been bending over backwards in recent years to distance the Supreme Court from that horrific ruling, as Judge Mary just said. Footnotes, other things, he says it's no longer good law. Thank goodness at a time when we are talking about rounding people up, maybe not in camps yet in this nation, but important for him to do that. On the other extreme, we're coming up next week on the 1-year anniversary, July 1, 2024, of John Roberts authoring one of the most catastrophic decisions in American history, finding not only that a president is above the law and can in fact be subject not be subject to prosecution, but more importantly, he says in that opinion, Trump versus United States, we need a president who's strong, who's agile, can't be feeble, because a feeble president is a feeble government, and gives license to this president and future presidents to do the amazing and incredibly and offensive things that he's doing right now.
Words that may have changed our country's history. James Santel, U.S. Attorney, former, and retired Milwaukee Judge Mary Kuhn, as good as it gets from guests on this program. Thanks, as always, for your brilliance.
Always a pleasure, Steve.
Sharing your
Kristin.
wisdom. Kristen's going to see what I've missed, or at least go over what I've missed while I've been on my little journey.
Instant reactions.
Yes, that's all coming up after the news, which is next on 620 WTMJ.
Hi, I'm Tony Drake from Drake & Associates. If you've saved in a 401k or IRA, you might think you're set for retirement. But here's something you need to know. Every dollar you withdraw could be taxed. And with rising government debt, future tax hikes could take an even bigger bite out of your savings. Imagine reaching retirement only to realize the IRS is taking more of your money than you expected. It's one of the biggest risks that retirees face. Spending their savings without a plan for taxes. And once you're retired, it's often too late to fix it. That's why I want to help you create a tax strategy now so you can keep more of your hard-earned money. At Drake & Associates, we focus on tax-efficient retirement planning, helping you lower your lifetime tax bill and maximize your retirement income. And right now, I'm offering you a free retirement toolkit, plus a copy of my book, Get Retirement Ready, to show you how to keep more of your money working for you, not the IRS. Text TAX to 414-897-9522 to claim your free copies. Don't wait until tax rates rise. Start planning today. Text TAX to 414-897-9522. Drake & Associates, helping you keep more of what you've earned.
Drake & Associates LLC is an independent investment advisory firm that offers a variety of different investment vehicles. This commercial is provided for informational purposes only and should not be construed as individual investment advice. Drake & Associates LLC does not provide legal or tax advice. Past performance is not indicative of future performance.
Dan, what are you doing?
Taking a closet for a test drive.
A test drive?
Here at Inspired Closets, we have our own cutting-edge immersive design experience.
That's right. Envisioned by Inspired Closets uses AR technology that's sort of like test driving a car.
Virtually walk into your custom closet at scale before anything is even built.
You can even make changes in real time, so your environment will adapt to any design revisions you make in that moment.
Get started today at InspiredClosetsMilwaukee.com.
Inspired Closets, a wife and husband team.
State Fair is right around the corner, and it's time to savor the savings. These $15 tickets will only be available through June 29th. Save today so you'll be feeling good at the Wisconsin State Fair, presented by U.S. Cellular, July 31st through August 10th.
Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. Indeed's sponsored jobs feature helps you stand out and hire fast. Start at Indeed.com/credit.
Built Right Furniture, Leather, and Mattress.
You gotta get to Built Right today.
When are these pirates gonna learn?
You think he's feeling it tonight? You bet he is. Swing and a miss. He struck him out, and Castro ends up on his backside. That was filthy.
Our Brewers Pirates Radio Network coverage starts today at 12:35. We are the home of the Brewers. News Radio 620, WTMJ, Milwaukee.
11 o'clock, we have 63 degrees. Look for isolated afternoon and evening showers and storms. High today, 73. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Connie Weber. President Trump believes the Iran-Israel war is over. Speaking at the NATO summit in the Netherlands today, he said both countries were tired of the fighting and added he thinks it ended when the U.S. carried out strikes on Iran. President said he thinks Iran is done trying to create a nuclear weapon. He also met one-on-one with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. President Trump was asked afterward if there was any mention of a possible ceasefire with Russia.
No, I wanted to know how he's doing. It was very nice, actually. You know, we had little rough times. Sometimes he was couldn't have been nicer.
A bill hoping to recruit out-of-state families to move to Wisconsin advances in Madison. The bill would require the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation to reallocate money to fund the program, which drew the ire of Democrats on Tuesday. Representative Alex Jors of Middleton.
I was looking at this bill, and I was reviewing it, and wait a minute. Oh, there's no funding in it. It creates a grant program, and there's no grants. There's no funding in this bill.
Republicans say the bill will be edited to include necessary funds if they don't make it into the final state budget proposal. The soft deadline for a state budget to be passed is Monday. An iconic Milwaukee building could possibly be converted to apartments.
The Gaslight building has been sold to Rialto Capital Advisors, a real estate company based in Miami. The Journal-Sentinel reports that local developer Kendall Brunig is interested in converting parts of the historic Art Deco building and former headquarters of the Wisconsin Gas Company into 120 apartments. 134,000 square foot building is currently being used as the U.S. Forest Service's Eastern Regional Office. As of right now, the building receiver's report states that only 37% of the Gaslight building is occupied. Sean Brinda, WTMJ News.
The Census Bureau confirms what every real estate agent in the country has known for months. The market for new homes has crumbled. ABC's Jim Ryan with the numbers.
Sales of new single-family houses last month came in at a seasonally adjusted annual rate of 623,000, nearly 14% below the April figure and a 7-month low. New home data is closely watched as an indicator of the broader economy. The decline comes despite price cuts and sales incentives offered by builders trying to lure house hunters out of hiding.
A Milwaukee teacher has started a run on a popular TV game show.
Micah Fritz had wanted to be on Jeopardy for 15 years by the time he got selected for the show in October. And Monday night, he entered Final Jeopardy with an insurmountable lead over the competition.
You only lose $1,000, leaving you with $14,200. You're today's Jeopardy champion, Micah. Congratulations.
Fritz's fun fact for host Ken Jennings, he runs an Instagram account reviewing Milwaukee bathrooms.
You look all the way down to the floor, quality dinginess all around. Case in point, the toilet with no toilet seat on it.
Fritz is back to defend his one-game streak tonight. Adam Roberts, WTMJ News.
Time for news about your money and the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Dow is down 77 points. The NASDAQ up 48. S&P 500 up about a point. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth. Annex Private Client. Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Outdoor Living Unlimited. WTMJ News Time, 11:05.
Summer is finally here. We're outside and maybe noticing the condition of our old windows. Gene Miller here for my friends at Hometown Windows and Doors, your local experts in stylish, energy-efficient replacement windows. Boost your curb appeal with top brands like Pella, Anderson, and Marvin, tailored to fit your home, your style, and your budget. Plus, installation by employee carpenters. Wood, vinyl, fiberglass, all on display in their newly remodeled New Berlin showroom. That's Hometown with an E for your every window and door need. Visit hometownwindows.com today.
After a serious crash with a semi-truck, everything can change instantly. Your future, your family's future, your quality of life. That's why knowledge and results matter in big truck cases. And not all law firms have the know-how or the resources to handle these complicated cases. At Gruberg Law Offices, we have the experience it takes to make sure you're protected. And there's never a fee until we win your case. Gruberg Law Offices. One call, that's all.
As host of the Fix It Show, I've talked to countless homeowners worried about musty basements, water seepage, and foundation cracks. And my answer is always the same. Call Accurate Basement Repair. They're not just Wisconsin's #1 rated foundation and waterproofing team. They deliver real peace of mind. I've recommended them for years because I know the quality of their work. And more importantly, the integrity behind it.
Wow, we're grateful for that trust, David. Every home we restore, we treat like our own. And that's what Accurate is all about.
They're not just good, they're accurate.
WTMJ's John Mercure here. If you're trying to make sense of the economy and where we're headed, Thursday, July 3rd, you need to check out a webinar I'm co-hosting with Annex Wealth Management Chief Economist Brian Jacobson. Thursday, July 3rd, 9 a.m., you'll get instant insight just after the jobs report is released. We'll provide instant analysis on the employment picture, answer your questions, and explain what it all means. Visit WTMJ.com, click the Instant Insight Register Now button, or check out events at annexwealth.com. Thursday, July 3rd at 9 a.m. It's free. Register today.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All Sports Desk. Brewers even the series. Milwaukee took down the Pirates 9-3 at home. Teams conclude their series this afternoon. NBA Draft kicks off tonight. The two-night event will begin with the first round. The Bucks don't currently own a first-round pick, but will select with the 47th overall pick in the second round on Thursday. Take a look at the roads now with your WTMJ Time Saver traffic. We have a lane closure. This is going to be the left lane, I-43 South. Some maintenance going on. This is going to be from Highway 60. Again, lane closed, the left lane, south, I-43 South beyond the ramp from Wisconsin 60. Some repairs and maintenance happening there. Here's your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Isolated afternoon and evening showers and storms that will continue overnight. High today 73, overnight low tonight 64. Scattered storms tomorrow, highs 83 to 90. Slight chance of storms Friday morning and then a high of 82. Partly cloudy 83 Saturday. Partly cloudy Sunday with a PM chance of storms and a high of 89. 71 in Madison, 69 in Green Bay, 63 in Milwaukee. I'm Connie Weber. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 11:08.
Broadcasting live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue. It's time for Point Taken. Here are your hosts, Steve Scaffidi and Kristin Brey.
Welcome back to the 11 o'clock hour of the Hump Day edition of Point Taken. And indeed, my friend, my co-host, Steve Scaffidi, is back from Scotland. We're going to get to all of your, not all, but some of your Scotland stories, because we have Ask Us Anything coming up at the bottom of the hour.
All questions welcome.
And so you can start sending those in now if you would like us to copy and paste.
What's that number again, Kristin?
855-616-1620. The Sunny Unlimited WTMJ talk and text line. Shoot us over your questions, and we'll get to those starting at 11:35. But I always think this is interesting. So the last long vacation, I got to go to Brazil, the Packer game last year.
That
was that was a week. But prior to that, the longest trip that I had taken was my honeymoon in 2022. That I was thinking we were gone for like 14 days.
Nice.
And I am someone who admittedly am addicted to my phone. So even when I'm off, like my tendency is to still swipe, right? And like be scrolling through stuff. You did not.
I never turned on a TV in any place. Now, I did see a TV. A lot of the pubs in Scotland play soccer football games, so that's about all I saw. I might have noticed, one of the news, BBC probably in that case, something briefly, but I ignored it. I had nearly 1,000 unread emails, which I'll have to get through. So if you send me an email of importance, I will try to get to it at some point this week. No guarantees.
And if he doesn't, he accidentally deleted it and sent it again.
Just resend it, because I didn't want to do that. I wanted to kind of pull away. I wanted to hear from people who are residents or visitors in Scotland, what they were thinking about things. And for the most part, it was non-political. So I essentially checked out of U.S. politics for 12 days.
All right. So I thought we would go through, a lot happened in 10 days.
That's what I heard.
So we're going to go through cherry picked the things that I think were really big deals. And we're going to see your instant reaction, whether it broke through the noise at all, or if all you're hearing all of this as the famous words of our president.
Yeah.
Hold on. This is supposed to be.
She just died? Wow. I didn't know that. You're telling me now for the first time.
You're telling me that for the first time. All right.
Bet she says that a lot.
So this is a game that we'd like to call What Did I Miss?
Well, what did I miss?
Oh, that's a peppy song you've pulled up here, Kristin.
All right. So on the day that you were flying to Scotland, you knew that there was going to be a military parade.
Yes.
Did you hear anything about how that military parade went?
No.
All right. So Bill McCoshen, who was there, said that he thought it was a great success. I would say most of the internet disagreed with him. It didn't look like it was super well attended. It didn't get canceled, but there was like a squeaky wheel on a tank at one point, and like the cheers were not like covering it up.
I know there's a threat of rain. Did that happen?
The rain happened, and that's probably why there was less people in the crowds than expected. But overall, it was maybe not the success that they thought it was going to be.
At any point, did a protester stand in front of one of the tanks?
No, absolutely not.
None of
But speaking of protesters,
Tiananmen Square situation?
There was also then, across the country, 2,000 different cities, apparently around 5 million people who protested for No King's Day.
Mm-hmm.
All of those were pretty much peaceful. There was huge crowds in Chicago, Philadelphia, New York. Milwaukee in Cathedral Square had around 10,000 people. It's apparently the largest nationwide protest ever.
And what was going on there at these protests?
Largely, I mean, I took my mother, and it was very chill. There were speakers. I think some cities marched. There's lots of funny signs, but not a lot more than that.
Interesting.
So
they just gathered together and to share their lack of support for what they're seeing happening in the country.
So what overshadowed both of those things, and I don't know if you know this or not. Do you know what happened in Minnesota?
Shooting. Yes. Yes, I did hear something about that. Yeah.
Okay, so this was terrible. A man named Van Spolter on June 14th killed State Representative Melissa Hortman and her husband. He also shot State Senator John Hoffman and his wife, who were injured but survived. He had a list of over 70 people. We now know that he actually went to more lawmakers' houses, but they weren't home.
Wow.
He had 11 people, Wisconsin lawmakers, on his list. He was arrested. There was a manhunt.
Yeah, I was going to say, because when I saw that blip on the TV monitor, I think it was in the airport maybe, he had not been captured yet.
And so they finally did capture him. And so that has been, as you imagine, that happened while the Wisconsin Democratic Convention was happening, and they increased security there. They've increased security at the Wisconsin State Capitol. And there, as you could imagine, the internet was kind of ugly about it.
What did the president have to say about it?
Well, I don't think he definitely didn't call Tim Walz.
Not a fan of Tim Walz.
But he did condemn the violence, but he did not extend.
That's the right thing a president should do.
He did not, when asked if he was going to call Tim Walz, he said no. So
Governor of Minnesota.
Those, I think, were beyond
where it happened.
The obvious, which I have to imagine you know, is Iran, Israel, and Trump. And
that did come up.
On Saturday night, so you guys were further ahead, but like by Sunday morning, were you guys aware of what that Trump had decided to?
Yeah, it came up at breakfast, actually, because every morning we had a group breakfast if you wanted to do that. My wife famously skipped all of them except the last one because she never eats breakfast. And she doesn't drink coffee. So she's going to take her time getting ready, which is, look, she was great on the trip. She enjoyed the heck out of it. But some of us are like early risers. So we would get up. And that was the conversation on, would it have been the second Sunday I was gone? Is that the timing of that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was this last Sunday.
And it was like sort of I'm just giving you a general sense of like, oh, now what happens next? Like the escalation of
I think
threat.
that was the same sense that was here too. It was like, okay. And then there was,
how bad does this get?
By Monday, there was a ceasefire. Is there a ceasefire? We're kind of this fragile, I don't know, stage right now. But I would say all of that was probably the three biggest things that happened. And this maybe was, we're going to go to break and I got some other ones to run by you. But this, I don't know if broke through the noise, but it was hilarious. Did you hear anything about Ted Cruz and Tucker Carlson?
No.
They're a weak country who is on its knees, and I think we need to...
Then why are we so afraid of them? Why are they the biggest threat if they're a weak country that's on its knees?
Because they're trying...
I'm trying to keep track.
They're trying to develop... Be a little less snarky.
I know, you're right. That is a problem that I have. I'm sorry.
Viral clip after viral clip.
Hold on a second.
Tucker Carlson just obliterating Ted Cruz.
Ted Cruz is snarky all the time.
I know. It was one of those things where you're like, I'm not cheering for either of you, but this is wildly entertaining.
Also, and I'm not a fan of Tucker Carlson. Great question, by the way.
Oh, he trapped him. Like we got other clips on this. That's an interview that you're going to want to watch. All right. We'll come back with more What Did I Miss with Steve while he was gone for 10 days on Point Taken.
The 2015 Wisconsin men's hoops team gave us all a march to remember.
There will be no undefeated champion on Wisconsin with an unbelievable stretch drive to the championship game.
On June 26th, enjoy an intimate celebration with the stars of the run with Made 'em Believe. Presented by M3 Insurance. World-class expertise and individual attention. Tickets are on sale now at uwhoops2015.com. Made 'em Believe. June 26th at the Orpheum Theater in Madison.
Big focus in America today on your health, and you're determined to look beyond those pills and steroids and surgery to feel your best, right? I want to talk to people who are in pain right now. Maybe it's someone you love. You've done everything they told you to do. The pain just comes back. You're exhausted, but don't give up. Hey, it's WTMJ's Steve Scaffidi for QC Kinetics. I'll be there this afternoon actually visiting. They're different. They're not quick fixes. This is a revolutionary treatment that works to give your body long-term relief. I'm going to meet face-to-face with their medical director, Dr. Ashley Caravelli, this afternoon, and her team. They'll explain how their regenerative treatments take your body's own healing power, helps restore your damaged tissue, well-respected protocols that include potent and powerful cellular-level treatments. QC Kinetics has helped tens of thousands of people, so many of them right here in Milwaukee and beyond. They'd be honored to help me as well, and you. No masking the pain. They're going after the very source of it. You can say goodbye to that chronic pain and live your best life. Find out if you're a good candidate. The consultation is free. With appointments, just call QC Kinetics at 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474.
It's WTMJ's Debbie Lazaga for Comfort Awnings. This summer, I'm getting relief from the hot Wisconsin sun whenever I need it with my motorized retractable awning from Comfort Awnings. Sensors are also available that detect strong winds and rain to extend or retract your awning. They even protect against UV radiation so you can safely enjoy the outdoors all summer long. Family owned and located in Burlington, Comfort Awnings expertly installs custom awnings that fit your home and style. Right now, you can receive $400 off your awning or screen. Call 414-AWNINGS or visit comfortawnings.com.
All the clothes are time to dance. Count the headlights on the highway.
Jazz killing it on the bumper music today, by the way.
We're loving it.
As she always does, because she's good at it. I miss Jazz. So much so that I gave her a Scottish chocolate bar and gave me some as well.
For me as well. All right, so coming back to some of the things that you missed, trying to get you up to speed as we get back in the groove of our show. I think we hit a lot of the major ones that I thought maybe would have broken through for you despite being on vacation. But some of the legal news that you may have missed. SCOTUS ruled that Tennessee can prohibit puberty blockers and hormones for adolescent transitions. There was, we already talked about this. This was yesterday with SCOTUS allowing deportations to third countries prior to hearings. Mahmoud Khalil, the prominent leader in campus protests against the war in Gaza, was released on Friday. He told reporters he plans to keep protesting. And also, a judge ruled that Kilmar Abrego Garcia was wrongly deported to El Salvador and is eligible for release.
So the president and his administration were very demonstrative about the fact that these two individuals you just mentioned were not going to be going back to any sort of normal lives, but in fact, they sort of are.
I guess we'll see.
Yeah. To be determined.
To be determined. All right, in sports news, J.J. Spawn claimed his first major championship by winning the 2025 U.S. Open.
Missed all of that.
The Florida Panthers clinched their second straight Stanley Cup by besting the Edmonton Oilers.
Saw it on a screen somewhere.
And the OKC Thunder beat the Indiana Pacers in Game 7 for the NBA championship. And Halliburton tore his ACL.
Yeah.
Not his ACL, his Achilles.
So was that the deciding factor in the game? Because he was their star.
Yeah. I mean, he had an unbelievable playoff run. Like, he was just unreal
He's
in how
be
well he played.
devastated.
Yeah.
You know which one you missed in that? Because I was traveling with Gene Miller, who's like the biggest Brewers fan. We were constantly being updated by Gene and some of his entourage about the Brewers, who are apparently red hot.
Sure, yeah. I mean, they haven't won anything yet, but like, I'm sure, okay.
Yeah. What did I miss in your life during that?
Oh, you don't want to list me other things?
Oh, do you have other
I
things?
got other things.
Sure,
there was
yeah.
severe weather. There was tornadoes in North Dakota
I
and
was
Minnesota.
aware of that, yeah.
All right. There was people who died in flooding in West Virginia.
Unfortunate.
There's been a massive heat wave. We all almost had heat stroke over the weekend. It was a good pool day.
Oh, real quick on that. So most of the Scottish hotels we stayed in did not have air conditioning.
Yeah. Not a lot of ice in Europe either.
No. Well, we got ice.
Okay.
Thankfully. But we had some hot days and more importantly, hot nights. There was one night where it was Sweatville for all of us. Not the best experience.
All right, so here's some other ones.
Yeah.
Heinz ketchup, Kool-Aid, and Jell-O are going to lose their artificial food coloring.
That's not a bad thing.
McDonald's and Krispy Kreme are calling quits to a partnership that no one knew existed.
I didn't know.
Social Security is going to run out of money faster than we expected, according to a new report.
I hope I get mine.
NYC politics, Mamdani beat Cuomo last night.
So socialists, potentially
I think we're going to dive into that more with Bill and Joe on Friday, because I think there's a lot. I think it's a bigger story than just mayor. I think it's a bigger story about Democrats in general.
You know, just like the Milwaukee socialists, they scare me a bit.
Fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, you are now eligible to sign up for the Trump family wireless plan and get a gold phone.
No. How is that even a thing? How is our president allowed to do that?
I don't know. We should have asked the legal experts. But there's obviously a lot more that happened. There was stuff in Wisconsin, but those were some of the bigger ones. The thing is, the news keeps coming. So even if you miss it for 10 days, I'm sure you'll be all caught up soon enough.
The good thing is for me, I work with you, so I will be caught up fairly quickly because you're a stern taskmaster when it comes to being on assignment and up to date on these topics.
I try to be.
Yeah, well, you're good at it, so it's good. It's a good reinforcement that, okay, vacation's over. Set aside the chocolates, the Scottish chocolate, which is amazing, by the way, especially the dark chocolate, and get back to work. You're good at that.
All right.
Which I will take.
Get back to work, Steve. Let's take one more break, and we'll be back after this on Point Taken.
Here's to sweet summer days together with friends and family in Wisconsin. To discovering magic in every moment.
Hey, Mom, over here.
And to reconnecting through a world filled with wonder.
Wow.
Here's to supper club celebrations and dancing until the sun goes down. Here's to those who Wisconsin. Plan your summer getaway at travelwisconsin.com.
When I shop St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores, every time I come in, it's like a whole new store. It's because new inventory's arriving daily, all kinds of everything. And let me tell you, thrift store prices make buying easy. And helping others at the same time, that's icing on the cake. St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores on Highway 100 in Layton and Greenfield, 23rd in Lincoln, and 76th and Bradley Road in Milwaukee.
You're gonna love it, St. Vincent de Paul.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
What makes you so different than the rest of us?
We ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Tell me more.
Our investment counselors focus on service over sales, prioritizing clients' needs.
How do you make money?
We don't sell any commission-based products. We have a simple management fee based on the value of our client's portfolio. So we do better when our clients do better.
What about client portfolios?
We get to know each client, their finances, family, health, lifestyle, and more, and then we tailor a portfolio based on their specific goals and needs.
Your clients really come first then, huh?
Yes, we make them a top priority. Our goal is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement.
Wow, maybe we are different.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Loyalty, family. Few things are more important. This is WTMJ's Steve Scaffidi and Loyal Family Renovations. They saved the day after a brutal storm in Oak Creek. Hail damage, yeah, I had a lot of it. But Jeff, Jake, and the whole team, absolute pros, made the entire process smooth as can be. Let's be honest, not everyone knows how to deal with adjusters. They handle all the questions, quick answers, top-notch customer service. In just 2 days, my roof was done. If storm damage hits, call the team that made it easy for me. Loyal Family Renovations. Visit loyalfamilyrenovations.com.
Well, you're probably on the hunt for buried treasure.
Buried treasure.
For this series, you may want to bring your tape measure.
Fly ball, center field, deep, and gone. The local kid connects for a 2-run bomb, and the Brewers have the lead.
The Brewers host the Pirates for a 3-game set. Our Brewers Radio Network game day coverage starts today at 12:35. We are the home of the Brewers. WTMJ.
I think some of the Beatles were Scottish, weren't they? Wasn't one of them Scottish? I have to go look that up. No?
I don't think so.
No?
I thought they were all from Liverpool.
Yeah, I know, but everyone has, like, my mom grew up in Oxford, England, but she's from Isle of Bute in Scotland. So everyone has that history.
Probably Paul McCartney because of the last name, but...
Yeah, the Mick, MC, or M-A-C. I learned a lot about the clans of Scotland on my trip, the Mackays and the McGregors. I saw a guy walking around town with a kilt and the whole Scottish outfit. Scott McGregor. Perfect name for a Scottish citizen, don't you think?
Sure.
He was leading a group. They call it Rhodes Scholar Trips. I'm maybe not getting it exactly right, but not the RHODES, the smart people trip, just ROADS. But he goes around in this kilt, and it's striking. If the guy's like 6'3", and he leads this tour group through Scotland, I thought, I want to go on that trip. Although they were in the same places we were at, so probably learned saw the same things.
All right. Any other questions about what you missed?
Well, I asked you, but you kind of blew it off. Like, what happened in your life while I was gone?
Well, I turned 39.
I know. I called in.
Yeah, so you knew that.
You gave me 2 minutes of the show.
I actually golfed better than expected at my golf outing.
Yeah, you had a golf outing for the
Milwaukee Diaper Mission.
Yeah.
I went with 3 of my girlfriends, none of us would say that we are great golfers. But it was a scramble because that's the best way to golf.
Absolutely. In an outing.
And I haven't played since 2022. And on the first hole, on a par 4, we used all 3 of my shots and got a par 3 and got a birdie.
That's pretty good.
All of a sudden they're like, "Wait, can you actually golf?" And then the rest of the 18 holes, or the rest of the 17 holes, were like, I was sometimes great and I was sometimes not.
And you raised money for a good organization.
Yes, exactly.
Which is what you've been passionate about for a long time.
Absolutely. And so it's such a straightforward mission as far as parents need diapers, and once your kids are out of diapers, you forget how expensive diapers are, and there's not something you can buy with SNAP benefit program or the WIC program, and that there are a lot of parents out there who keep kids in dirty diapers because they just can't afford new ones. And so it is a great program. It is so straightforward.
How can folks find out about it?
Milwaukee Diaper Mission. Is it Milwaukee Diaper Mission Milwaukee?
I mean, that's something that people should be aware of, because that's one of those things you can do to easily help. And whether it's a monetary, whether it's, you purchase diapers and drop them off, new diapers, that's so easy for people to do.
It's super easy for people to do. Mariah Antetokounmpo is super involved. I got to interview her. So more on that later.
Mrs. Giannis.
More on that later. Yeah, it's just MilwaukeeDiaperMission.org. What else happened?
Oh,
I did the show every day.
I did see, this is not a good story, but I saw that some of our local pick and saves are closing, including one in Oak Creek, which we've already lost our Piggly Wiggly store in Oak Creek recently.
I also know in Cudahy. Do you know in Cudahy there's no grocery store?
I do know that because my mom and dad live in Cudahy, as do my brother.
How is that possible?
It isn't. It should not be possible. And I know it's not easy to get a sort of come in, but we got to do something about that.
Maybe that's why some people maybe that's why Mamdani won, because he's saying city-run grocery stores. Maybe Cudahy needs to have a city-run grocery store.
I'm glad you just mentioned that, because one of the things I love about Europe is they have a few like Sainsbury's and other big, but they're not that big. But they have all these little shops, whether it's a butcher shop, a bakery, and all the little ways you can sort of separate all the stuff that they have in these big mega stores. And I think it adds something to the mix of how you live your life, what you buy, the relationships you establish with shop owners instead of just going to a store and you maybe talk to somebody that works there, maybe you don't, maybe just do everything's self-checkout. So now basically in Europe, it's all self-checkout and then one person sort of supervisors. That's all they have. You don't have lines where you can go check out stuff anymore. It's all self-checkout.
Interesting.
And the other cool thing about Europe is everything tastes better. So whatever they're doing, and save all the stupid texts to say, America's a big country, we have to have preservatives. No, we don't. Let's just eat better. They eat way better. That's the reason why my wife and I went to Europe, ate a lot of good things, and didn't gain weight, because the food's better for you.
I'm guessing you were also walking a lot.
And we walked a lot. And I touched really old things, which is, if you know me, and you do know
Were you
me,
allowed to touch them, or did you just touch them anyways?
I touched the ones we were allowed to touch. All right, we've got local news with Connie Weber. Before we get to any of that, I've missed this part, too. Here's the latest from ABC.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. President Trump standing by his claim that U.S. strikes on 3 nuclear sites in Iran completely destroyed the country's nuclear capabilities. He says the preliminary intelligence assessment that U.S. bombs likely set Iran's nuclear program by just months doesn't include everything. At a news conference at the NATO summit in the Netherlands, the president says the U.S. strikes also targeted underground materials at Iran's Fordo site.
Oh yeah, we think it's covered with granite, concrete, and steel.
He says it was too soon to issue a report. The Census Bureau showing the market for new homes has eroded to a 7-year low. Sales of new single-family homes for May were down nearly 14% from April. Fed Chair Jerome Powell testifying for a second day on Capitol Hill, saying uncertainty from tariffs has not fully impacted the economy yet. In St. Anne, Missouri, officials confirming 1 heat-related death due to soaring temperatures this week. Heat and health advisories stretching from the Midwest to the East Coast. This is
Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 11:31. I'm Connie Weber. A 9-year-old girl struck and pinned under a fallen tree in Green Bay Monday has died. Our news partners at NBC 26 say Rose Kendricks was struck by a tree during severe storms Monday afternoon. The girl was able to be pulled from under the fallen tree but died from her injuries later that evening. A rare virus carried by deer ticks has been reported in 3 people in Wisconsin. The Department of Health Services says all 3 adults who contracted Powassan were hospitalized. 1 died. DHS says while the disease is rare, there has been an increase in the number of cases reported in recent years. A beloved LGBTQ-friendly bar has been vandalized. The owner of Sugar Maple in Bayview says somebody threw a rock through the front window of the bar around 11:15 Monday night. Security camera footage posted to Facebook shows an unknown male walking past the bar shortly before the rock was thrown. In their post, Sugar Maple says they will always be a safe space and encourages the community to come buy a drink to help pay to replace the window. Time for some news about your money in the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Dow is down 74 points, 43,014. NASDAQ up 47, 19,960. S&P 500 is up 2 points at 6,094. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Taking a look at the roads now with your WTMJ Time Saver traffic. I-43 south at the ramp from County Line Road, right shoulder there blocked due to a disabled vehicle. Also, the left lane is going to be closed on I-43 south beyond the ramp from Highway 60 because of repairs and maintenance happening in the area. Here's your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Isolated showers this afternoon, this evening, into the overnight hours. 73 for the high today, 64 for the overnight low. Scattered storms tomorrow, highs 83 lakeside, 90 inland. Slight chance of rain Friday morning with a high of 82. Partly cloudy at 83 on Saturday. And then a chance for storms Sunday afternoon and evening after partly cloudy skies and a high of 89. Right now in Madison, we have 71 degrees, Green Bay 69, and Milwaukee 63. I'm Connie Weber. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 11:33.
Your home can be more maintenance free when you rely on J&B.
This is Tom Feza. When I need information about siding, I call Scott Klein, owner of J&B Construction, provider of high-quality exterior home improvement products and services since 1958.
I'm Scott Klein. If you're tired of painting or your siding is beyond repair, it may be time to look at the advantages of a new siding system. Additional insulation, along with Tyvek's weatherization system, can significantly improve your home's energy efficiency while protecting it from water and air infiltration. We offer a variety of siding products, all installed by J&B's certified employees, which will provide decades of performance and beauty.
For a complimentary siding evaluation, call Scott at 262-437-0537 or visit jnbconstruction.com.
Your home can be more maintenance-free when you rely on J&B.
WTMJ's John Mercure here. If you're trying to make sense of the economy and where we're headed, Thursday, July 3rd, you need to check out a webinar I'm co-hosting with Annex Wealth Management Chief Economist Brian Jacobson. Thursday, July 3rd, 9 a.m., you'll get instant insight just after the jobs report is released. We'll provide instant analysis on the employment picture, answer your questions, and explain what it all means. Visit WTMJ.com, click the Instant Insight Register Now button, or check out events at annexwealth.com. Thursday, July 3rd at 9 a.m. It's free. Register today.
Church and Chapel Funeral Homes. Dignified services with less expensive fees compared to other fine funeral homes. Church and Chapel Funeral Homes. There's one near you.
Protect your liver and give it the support that it deserves with Active Liver from New Nordic. Find in stores at your local CVS, Meijer, Grocery, Amazon, or newnordicusa.com.
Now it's time for Ask Us Anything on Point Taken. Got a burning question? Give us a call or text on the Siding Unlimited talk and text line at 855-616-1620.
Good to be back on Ask Us Anything. Kristin Brey, the talented Kristin Brey, and thanks to you, by the way, for filling in by yourself. It's not easy to do. I've done it, obviously did a show by myself.
Well, you did a show by yourself for a very long time.
Yeah, and it becomes sort of not just a thing you do, but you get better at it, and from what I've heard, you did outstanding. And some really great pieces I saw from you and Brian, yes? Was it yesterday?
Yesterday. We had a really good show yesterday.
Brian is so good.
He's so, yes, because he's done a lot of different things. He's knowledgeable about a lot of different things.
He had a snarky.
He's reasonable. Was he snarky?
He was snarky. You're gonna have to keep
the
talking.
catnip thing?
No, he was snarky to me on Twitter. I have to find it real quick because I thought, Brian, what's Brian doing there? I'll get to it at some point.
Okay, you get back to it. No, but yesterday's show was really fun with Brian, and I appreciate that he spent that much time with us. All right. So let's get to an easy one, because I know that we're going to talk about more stuff in Scotland at the end of the show. But someone said, my friends Paul and Diane were on the trip with you. Hope Paul didn't talk your ear off.
No, they were nice, actually.
And then what was your favorite pub in Scotland? Did you go to a locals pub to get the flavor of the people?
We did both. And I don't remember the name of this, like just a towny pub in Edinburgh. But my favorite pub was Doctor's Pub in Edinburgh. First day of our, the full tour. And it's right next to their medical college. So it's called Doctor's Pub for that reason. Been there for 100 plus years. They had apps, haddock fingers. Unbelievable.
I didn't know haddocks had fingers.
It's like chicken fingers. Funny.
Like fish sticks.
Yeah, exactly. But delicious. And the beer was amazing. So that was my favorite pub. But we were at Schmitty's Pub where we had the bagpipes. Jazz played some of that. She played some of that during the show. That was awesome. And we had a 2-hour sort of sing-along where we learned Scottish songs. We had two local young bagpipe players came in and entertained us, which I think is some of the music that Jazz played earlier. It just was a fun trip. Gene Miller, I got to hang out with Gino and his wife Luann. Fantastic hosts, and 40-some people. We toured. We if you don't know, the trip started in Edinburgh, and we did the entire circuit of the country, which is the entire all along the coast, small towns, big towns. And obviously, Edinburgh's
in a bus.
In a bus, yes, in a bus, a group bus.
Very tight corners on big, steep.
Well, here's the thing. Did you know?
Not mountains, but
I guess I should have known this. The Scottish countryside, the lanes are just one lane.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
And they have little bump outs I think they call them passing places, where if you have two cars coming, one moves over. And all of us from America, including a structural engineer that was along on us, a lovely lady from Burlington, I think she was, Nadine. Why don't you just build 2 lanes on these roads? And the answer is they don't have the space in some of these places. So yeah, you're like looking down. It's all ups and downs. If you were, thankfully we didn't have any of these. If you were someone that got car sick, oh my goodness, that was a perfect climate and environment for that. But thankfully that didn't happen. Absolute joy of a trip.
Good.
So thanks for that question.
All
and
right.
we're going to have some more of that Scotland talk
Yes,
a little bit later
absolutely.
in the
So
program.
before we go to break, we'll get this easy one in. Question for Steve. Did you, in your youth, attend Patrick Cudahy Days and the South Milwaukee Spectacle of Music?
Both.
Both. Yeah. Texter
Yes.
says, I lived in Cudahy from 1963 to 70, so we likely crossed paths at those events if you were there.
Was there a name attached to that? Send me just put your first name or if you want your last name on the text line and I'll see if I remember. Yeah, I mean, I love those events. That was summer in Cudahy. I love my
Does
time.
that predate Summerfest then? Probably.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, those go way back.
Way back.
Yeah, because Summerfest was, 68, 69, somewhere around there?
I mean, and it was like weird because there was like a first year, it was all over the city,
Yeah.
and then it
Yes.
didn't come back,
Thank
and
you,
then it finally...
Thank you, Mayor Meyer, Henry Meyer.
Yeah.
But yes, I did those events. It defined summer for those of us in Cudahy and the 4th of July parade and all that stuff. I'm still connected to Cudahy. My parents still live there. My brother still lives there, Bob. I have relatives that live there. It's a great city on a great lake, but I always say to Cudahy, there's untapped potential.
How is Cudahy not Shorewood?
I don't know.
It's the same proximity to the lake. It's the same proximity to Milwaukee.
Dream big.
Like, I don't know how one is considered very different than the other.
Yeah.
We'll end there for now because we got to go to a break.
Yes.
If you have a question for Steve or I or both of us, 855-616-1620. Give us a call, shoot us a text, and we'll get to more of your questions after this.
The historic Fox and Hound Supper Club is the most beautiful, unique, and affordable summer dining destination. WTMJ's John Merck here. I love the Fox and Hounds. When you buy one dinner, your second dinner is free, including prime rib every Wednesday and Saturday, desserts and ice cream drinks, buy one, get one free. Order a hand-cut choice ribeye steak, pan-seared scallops, the roasted duck, pan-fried walleye, pasta, the ribs, any entree, your second dinner is free. 7 nights a week. Wow, what a value. Relax with a cold beverage on that patio in the woods, then dinner in one of the 8 unique dining rooms. Your second dinner is free. It is a dining experience at the historic Fox and Hounds. The award-winning Fox and Hounds Supper Club off Highway 167 near Holy Hill. The drive through the Kettle Moraine is stunning. A Wisconsin summer must-see. Wherever you live, it's worth the beautiful drive and free dinner at the Fox and Hounds. So step away from your kitchen, call and reserve your free dinner today. It's the famous Fox and Hounds.
As host of the Fix-It Show, I've talked to countless homeowners worried about musty basements, water seepage, and foundation cracks. And my answer is always the same. Call Accurate Basement Repair. They're not just Wisconsin's #1 rated foundation and waterproofing team. They deliver real peace of mind. I've recommended them for years because I know the quality of their work. And more importantly, the integrity behind it.
Wow, we're grateful for that trust, David. Every home we restore, we treat like our own. And that's what Accurate is all about.
They're not just good, they're accurate.
Accunet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
After writing 3 unsuccessful offers, Brenda decided to make a no-regrets offer on this next property. She offered $35,000 over asking and promised to complete the purchase even if the appraised value came in as much as $25,000 below the accepted offer price. Why? Because she was tired of losing and because her Accunet loan consultant showed her that even in her worst-case scenario, no additional money would be needed at closing, and her payment, which on this home was much more affordable than others she wrote offers on, would only increase by $17 a month. Brenda's no-regrets offer, backed up by a rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval from Accunet, was accepted over several others. And wouldn't you know, the appraised value came in at the significantly higher than asking purchase price, which happens 9 out of 10 times in our experience. If you or someone you know wants help understanding what a no-regrets pre-approval might look like, get started by clicking on the blue button at Accunet.com. That's ACCUNET.com.
From the biggest stars to the greatest moments, Behind the Bucks is Bucks history like you've never heard it before. Go behind the scenes of the Emmy-nominated Giannis documentary. Get the real story of the blockbuster trade for Damian Lillard. Hear the origin of Bucks in 6. It's all on Behind the Bucks on the Bucks Plus audio network, presented by Gallagher, your trusted insurance broker and HR and benefits consultant. Available now on bucks.com/plus, the Bucks app, and wherever you get podcasts.
Find furniture for life from Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield, Greenfield, or downtown Milwaukee.
So good to be back in the chair, along with my pal, teammates, co-host Kristin, Brey, point taken on 630 WTMJ. As much as I'm tired because I got back late and didn't get a lot of sleep, I always look forward to coming back and talking about this stuff, seeing everybody. Saw Jazz this morning, and she was all excited about having me back. Missed me, she said, which I don't know if I was expecting that or not. Maybe, it's good to have you back, sort of. Maybe it was the chocolate talking. I don't know.
I missed you.
I appreciate that. We don't have a ton of questions today, which is fine, because I will literally talk about Scotland for the rest of my life, because seeing something you've never seen before is always cool to me. And people on the trip did ask, why I love to travel so much, because I want to, look, I'm 66. No one ever knows how much time they have left on this. I hope I have a lot of time. But you never know. There are things I want to see, things I want to touch, people I want to hang out with and learn their stories. And one thing I did on this trip and every trip I go on, I talked to the local people. I talked to the guy who was asking me what I thought about Donald Trump sitting at that little towny pub in Edinburgh. And I learned something from him, that they look at politics not just in their country, but in other places as well. And those conversations, I think, make us a better world so we understand each other. I'm so frustrated every day by people say, I don't have any interest of going anywhere else. But really? You don't want to see what other people do, what they experience, how beautiful Scotland is, or how amazing Europe is, or pick a place in this world, Australia, China, Japan, one of the countries in South America. You don't want to see what that's like and maybe learn something.
Have you gone to every continent?
No. I've only been to, I think, 4. Rose Gray's been to every continent.
Well, that doesn't surprise me.
No.
So have you been to Asia?
Asia, Europe.
Been to South America?
North America, not South America. Asia, Europe, North America.
Obviously, you live here.
Well, Mexico's that's
Central America, North America.
Yeah, so that's maybe 3. I mean, what am I missing?
So you haven't been to
Australia.
Anywhere in Africa?
No, Africa, Australia.
Haven't been to anywhere in South America?
Asia.
Have you been to Australia?
No.
Oh.
So I got a lot of work to do.
You have a lot, yeah, for someone who likes to travel.
But I don't sit here and say I don't have any interest in going.
But I think having interest is very different than time and money to do it, because I have all of the interest to go to all of the places.
That question came up. Yeah, that question came up. Well, we all get vacation, essentially.
But it still costs money
it does,
to go.
As maybe our next guest will tell us, there's ways to go on vacation that don't break the bank. And you can also save for vacation.
It's true.
And choosing the right travel company is part of that as well. Somebody asked me about what I thought about what the Speaker of the House was doing.
Yeah, this was one that I didn't know if you were up to date on this, but it says, do you think, Steve, believe that the Speaker of the House is complicit in helping Trump circumvent the law by not trying to address the 2 bills pending on immigration resolution?
Yeah, I don't like it. I think he's not a good Speaker of the House for that reason. I want Congress to do their damn jobs. I don't want a all-powerful, all-omnipotent President of the United States, whether that's Trump or anybody after him, including somebody in the other party. I don't want that. We have these...
You want Congress to do their job?
Yes, do their damn job. That's why I say it that way. And by shirking your responsibility and just handing it over, because I will never understand, this is not surprising or news breaking, I will never understand the devotion that people have for this president. Doesn't mean I scorn you because you voted for him, because that would be scorning half the population.
Is there any understanding you have for anyone having a devotion to a president in the past? Like,
maybe,
I think in general, they're not kings. Like, aren't they all? I mean, overall, they are people who work for us, right?
Yes.
And so, I think any kind of cult following for any kind of politician, like I say this, and I say this as people. There's people I respect who I got to meet at different events last year between the RNC and the DNC. But I think the celebrity worship of any of these people, they have those joke Roman candles with different people's faces on them, and so whether it's Oprah or Kamala Harris, RBG. It's these are all people who should be held accountable, right? Instead of worshipped.
Yeah. I don't worship anybody, but it's interesting you made the point about not liking kings. George Washington made it a point that he did not want to be a king.
It's funny, didn't a George Washington statue just go up in England?
Yeah, well, there's
a controversy over it, right? It's why are we putting a statue of George Washington in England?
I don't know, because he accomplished a lot. He did great things.
But for that country?
I don't know about for that country.
Right? That's a little weird.
Well, we probably have statues of some.
I mean, that's the thing that's always crazy. Then we'll go to break. That's the thing that's crazy to me about the Confederate soldier statues, was it's they lost. They were fighting against the United States. Why are we memorializing that?
Because the people who put those statues up, many of them were related to the men that they were.
I know.
honoring.
I know the political reasons
Yeah.
why. I'm just saying, like, the arguments as to why it's like they were treasonous. What are we talking about? Okay.
Big
anyways.
time guest coming up after the break. Just think Foxwood Travel Saturday morning. You'll know what I'm talking about. That's next.
Get the help you need Saturday morning with How To Radio. At 7, it's the WTMJ Fix It Show with David Nason, featuring this week's guest, J&B Construction. At 9, plan your dream vacation with the Fox World Travel Show. And at 10, get financial guidance during Money Talk. Contact Annex Wealth Management for an unbiased review of your investments at annexwealth.com. How To Radio, Saturday mornings on WTMJ.
Hey, it's WTMJ Steve Scaffidi for Advent. Snoring issues, tossing and turning, restless nights of sleep. That's some of the problems I used to have before I went to Advent. 30-minute visit, walked in. They put me at ease. They answered my questions. After a really simple sleep study at home, they determined my problem was a breathing triangle issue, sinuses and nasal passages. After a short procedure done in one of their great offices, I'm back to breathing better than ever 5 years ago now. Sleeping through the whole night, even on my vacation. If you struggle like I used to, take the time to see how Advent can help you. To find out how breathing well and sleeping well, more importantly, can make your nights better, go to AdventKnows.com, schedule an appointment today, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
At Potawatomi, where ways to win are endless, another chance to capture epic cash and prizes comes Friday, June 27th. It's the season finale blockbuster drawings. Watch your entries from Enchanted Spins, Unreal Treasures, and Boundless Bounty come together for drawings where $300,000 in cash and prizes is there for the taking. Be there to win your share. June 27th only at Potawatomi Casino Hotel, Milwaukee. More info online. Must be 21 years old to play.
I know you have a great dog, right? But you know there's room for improvement. At Sit Means Sit Dog Training, we can help. Our attention-based training system uses modern technology to help you better communicate with your dog, even in high distraction. When you schedule a free consultation with us, you will have the opportunity to see our training in action and meet for yourself our happy dogs off leash and under control. Contact Sit Means Sit today at 262-361-3641 or find us on the web at sitmeansitwaukesha.com to schedule your free consultation so you can have a happy, confident, and obedient dog.
WTMJ's John Mercure here. If you're trying to make sense of the economy and where we're headed, Thursday, July 3rd, you need to check out a webinar I'm co-hosting with Annex Wealth Management Chief Economist Brian Jacobson. Thursday, July 3rd, 9 a.m., you'll get instant insight just after the jobs report is released. We'll provide instant analysis on the employment picture, answer your questions, and explain what it all means. Visit WTMJ.com, click the Instant Insight Register Now button, or check out events at AnnexWealth.com. Thursday, July 3rd at 9 a.m. It's free. Register today.
Flooring, carpeting, bath, or kitchen remodeling. Adair is the name Milwaukee has trusted for 65 years. This is Rob Adair. Ready to remodel? Give us a call, 761-3660. Get personal care from Adair, South 27th in Franklin.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee. From the Annex Wealth Management Studios, this is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
Oh, sounds so good. I heard a lot of this music when I was on my Gene Miller listener trip. Well, let's not bury the lead. The instigator, organizer, the fantastic host of Foxwood Travel Show, or as I say, the Rose Gray Travel Show, joins us on our hotline, fresh off the buses and planes of our spectacular trip to Scotland. Good morning, Rose Gray.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you today? How's your jet lag?
I don't have much lag. I'm just tired.
You're holding your own.
Yeah.
You haven't missed a beat.
It wasn't too bad. Probably rougher on the going to part if I had to do a live radio show from Scotland. But how are you feeling?
I'm good. I am. I thought there's going to be somebody asking what was your favorite part of the trip, and I better have an answer. And I still can't pinpoint one favorite part of the trip. Really? I did love that pub when the guy wanted to talk about Trump. That was fun.
And I don't remember the name of it.
You didn't mention that.
It was a local. Yeah, I did because that's.
Oh, it was the guy who just wants to was like, what's going on in your country?
Well, he used a very specific word about Trump, which I've been accused of using too much. But we'll take the politics out of it. What would you think my favorite thing of the trip was, Rose?
I think. Well, I know you love to touch old things, so I'm thinking it had something to do with maybe the Isle of Iona.
Oh, yeah. Wasn't it gorgeous? I mean, oh, my goodness.
I was just looking back at some photographs. I can get behind that religion. It's called the Iona Community, and their mantra is working for justice and peace.
Yeah,
I'm all in on that church.
Open to all faith. It's on a
that.
tiny island that we had the ferry to. It's gorgeous. It's been the scene of some horrific tragedies over mainly Viking in origin, but the monastery is sort of being restored, and there's a cemetery there. Every vista, Rose, was just breathtaking. We stopped so many times just to take pictures. It was unbelievable.
And here's the thing. So many people do a UK trip that is primarily England, and then they dip into Scotland and maybe hit Edinburgh, maybe hit Glasgow, and then they call it good. They're missing the best part.
Yeah.
They're missing going to Orkney. They're missing Isle of Skye. They're missing some beautiful, beautiful scenery in that part of the country.
It's just spectacular. And anyone who has a chance, and obviously Fox Road Travels is sort of your go-to source for all that information, I encourage you to go do this. It will change your mind about what your expectations of Europe are. It's so breathtakingly beautiful. But Rose will testify to this. The people that you meet are absolutely amazing and friendly and helpful, and they want to interact with you. The food, I
was going to say, besides the haddock fingers, what surprised you about Scottish food?
The one thing that surprised us, given all the sheep that we saw roaming freely around the country, I never saw lamb on a menu once, Rose.
Oh, interesting.
No. One time I think we saw it, but we asked the server, and they said, "Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it."
It's just the weirdest
we
thing.
didn't even try.
But we saw millions of sheep, literally. They are everywhere.
Well, sheep are different than lamb. Did you see lots of lambs?
Baby lambs?
Yeah.
Oh,
we
yes.
did.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
because
yes.
this is the season they were
Did you
born.
touch any of those?
I didn't touch any. We saw a red deer right next to the bus, which is like sort of their version of the white-tailed bucks and deer. I thought that was amazing. But Gene Miller, this was his trip, Rose. Fantastic.
Yeah, this was
to
his
hang.
trip. And what's so cool about this is, many people are used to do this thing where they said, oh my gosh, if I'm flying all the way over to Europe, I'm going to see 6 different countries and I'm going to spend 2 days in each one, and that's going to be my trip. We're learning and hearing from travelers through the likes of Steve Scaffidi and Gene Miller Group. We want to immerse ourselves solely in one country, one destination. We want to learn everything we can. I think back, Steve, the way at the beginning of the trip, and again, we always remember what happened last, right? So when we were at that old Smitty Inn in Thrumster, and they had those 2 kids come and perform for us on the bagpipes, they're trying to perpetuate these things. They're trying to have these kids continue in that tradition, and I already got goosebumps talking about it now.
Yeah, we're playing the bagpipes just for that was incredible. That's the bagpipes actually that I recorded that day, Rose.
Oh my gosh! And again, what I love about it is they didn't throw stones at us politically. How many times did people ask you about Trump? I think I had at least a dozen people that I met on the street, in a pub, in a restaurant, in passing. Oh, American? What about that?
Yeah.
Blankety blank Trump. They all want to talk about it.
Real quick, if they want to find out more about any or all trips, Scotland or otherwise, 866-GO-FOX-GO, and of course the famous show on Saturday. Rose?
Thank you. Thank you. We
Always
could
great.
also do a push for Gene Miller's got a Portugal trip coming up. The discount
Awesome.
ends on the 30th of June.
The always entertaining and fun to travel with Rose Gray. Thanks for hanging out with me and Kathy
Hey,
and the
thanks for
group.
inviting me.
All right, we'll wrap the show
Talk
with
to you
that.
later, guys.
Kristin, we'll do it again tomorrow.
Do it again tomorrow. We're back, baby.
What if you could lose up to 1 pound of fat every single day at Milwaukee Weight Loss? They've got the secret, and it's helping people shed